you feel is the central conflict in the text, and how important are the underlying reasons for the conflict?
I believe the central conflict in the text would be Willie's regret for the way he lived his life. He lived his life always trying to be the most popular person and never really finding any meaning in his life other than what other people thought of him. The underlying reasons for this would probably be he was obsessed with the ideals of being loved by everyone. The author shows this when Willie talks about the old salesman who could work by just calling up any city, and every person in that city loved him. And when he died, doing what he loved, tons of people showed up for him because everyone loved him, and that was really an ideal that Willie was most obsessed about. This is also shown when Biff walks in on him cheating on his wife, and he cheats on his wife because the woman that he cheats on shows him attention and love, and that's one thing Willie loves the most. And so, in a time when he wasn't the salesman who could be loved by anyone or go into any city, he could go into that city and have at least one woman who thought that he was incredible. And so, when Biff walks in on him, it kind of shatters Biff's ideals of what Willie is, and that really crushes Willie. And that's an underlying reason why the main conflict of the death of a salesman is the regret that Willie has for living his life that way. Also, the author shows this regret as a major conflict with the way he treats Biff and Happy. He just wants Biff to be the most popular guy at school. He doesn't care about his grades, as he many times tells Bernard to help him cheat with school. And when he finds out that Biff failed his math class, he doesn't get angry at the fact that he failed his math class. He gets angry that Bernard didn't help him cheat well enough to get an acceptable grade. Also, he pushes him to do football and excel at that. And so he kind of tries to shape Biff to live the life that he wanted, to be successful and happy his entire life with people loving him. But when he cheats on his wife and Biff finds out, it kind of shatters Biff's world, and instead of ending up like his dad, he goes opposite end, and he burns his shoes from the university that he was going to play football from, and he no longer has any aspirations to be loved by everyone or continue with school, and he kind of throws his life away in one way, but he tries to find himself by going out west. And that's one of the underlying reasons that this main conflict is Willie's regret, because Willie can't handle what he's done to his family and the fact that he'll never be as popular as he once hoped. This can also be shown by his boss. When he goes into his office, it's a constant reminder of what he wasn't, and he starts having flashbacks in his office, as he does many times when he starts to think about how his life didn't turn out how he wanted to. He thinks about his brother and the success that he had, and he just only wants for that. He only wants to be successful and for people to love him. So when he walks into his boss's office and gets fired, it's again a reminder of the regret that he has for living his life that way and not being successful. And so he kind of goes into a tailspin of thinking about his brother, and it's one of the last flashbacks that you see, or not flashbacks, but kind of visualizations of a reality that he no longer has in his life. And so that's why with kind of not flashbacks, but
Visions into the past.
yeah, visions into the past, you see what he liked his life to be and what it wasn't. Any questions?
What do you think the main regret would be?
I think his main regret was not going with his brother, where he could have clearly been successful and probably loved more by his family, or at least what he thinks, because of all the money that he could have made. He talks about the diamonds. He went to the jungle and came out with diamonds. And that's shown by the author with constant flashback, or constant visions of his brother, and how he says he wishes he would have went with him. All right. All right. Question number 5. What symbols are particularly important, and how are they developed?
Okay. One of the symbols is Biff's tennis shoes, or his sneakers. This symbolizes Biff's past and his successful time in high school. He was like the star quarterback, everyone loved him, but then once he failed his math class, it kind of all was just flushed down the drain, and all that success that was right there in front of him just kind of went away. And it kind of symbolizes how sometimes you're right in the moment, and then one thing can change that whole significant event.
Yeah.
Another symbol that's really important is the tennis racket. That was in the scene where Willie goes to see Bernard. It's in the present time, so Bernard's like older, and has a really nice job. And Willie sees this tennis racket next to his desk, and he's like, "Where did that come from? Where are you going?" And Willie was like really, he was like jealous of Bernard at his success and the friends that he's made and how popular he's become. And the tennis racket kind of symbolizes wealth and success that Willie has always strived for but never really received as a salesman. Another symbol is the stockings. It kind of symbolizes the regret, betrayal that he has on his family and Linda, and the fact that he cheated on his wife and Biff witnessed the whole thing, and that's kind of the main conflict between Biff and Willie. He found out that he was cheating on his wife, and it kind of spiraled their whole relationship down, and it made Willie kind of realize how much he betrayed his whole family. And the stockings showed up like 3 or 4 times in the whole play. Linda's trying to mend the stockings throughout, and Willie's like, "Oh, stop trying to mend the stockings. You're not going to fix them." And it kind of symbolizes how their whole family unit is never really going to be fixed because of what he did and the horrible things that led up to that moment. Another symbol is the jungle and the diamonds. That kind of symbolizes his view of success and of his brother Ben. He always thought that Ben was really successful in all the adventures that he took on, and Willie regrets not going with Ben because he's always wanted to be successful and he never had that in his life. And also, it's kind of ironic because Ben and Willie were never really close because Ben was so much older than Willie, and it's never, like, Willie's visions into the past are seen as him being, like, really close with Ben, and that he never really had that in his life, so it's like he's trying to make up for what he never had, and he's, like, filling a hole in himself and trying to see, like, oh, if I went off with my brother, I would have had such a better life, and I would have been rich and successful. Another symbol is...
Well, I'll answer your question.
Okay.
What do you think is the most important symbol to showing Willie's regret about the way he lived his life?
I think a really significant one would be the stockings. I think that Willie's relationship with Biff was one of the most important parts of the novel, or the play, sorry. It's always, like, there, the relationship, and it's always, like, in the back of Willie's mind, and he's always struggling to feel that love from Biff and feel the acceptance, because he always feels like he's being judged by Biff whenever he comes home. And Biff is always struggling to face Willie. He doesn't want to come home. That's why he goes out west, and that's why he doesn't ever want to help his father, even though he knows that he has all these mental issues, and he feels bad for Linda, and he feels bad for Happy because they're stuck at home with Willie, and he wants them to feel like they can be loved by Willie and they can love him back. But it's really hard because of his mental problems and the fact that Biff knows that he cheated on Linda, and that is just, like, one of the main conflicts within the book itself, like the relationship that Biff and Willie have because of what Willie did.
Okay.